Okay, good. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order our meeting of the Citrus Heights City Council for June 11, 2025. And I'll start with Councilmember Middleton. Have we done the flag salute for you for a while?
It's been a bit.
Let's have you do it.
Please stand for the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. The next item is Amy, roll call.
Councilmember Middleton.
Present.
Councilmember Nelson.
Present.
Councilmember Schaefer.
Here.
Vice Mayor Lopez Taff is absent. Mayor Karpinski Costa.
Present. And I want to say, too, that we haven't lost our attorney, Ryan. We have Mr. Drexel here to take his place, just for tonight.
Good evening. Thank you.
This meeting of the Citrus Heights City Council is live and recorded with closed captioning. It is cablecast on Metro Cable Channel 14, the local government affairs channel on the Comcast and DirecTV Uverse cable systems. It is also live streamed at citrusheights.net. Tonight's meeting replays on Monday, June 16th at 9 a.m. on Metro Cable Channel 14, and this meeting can also be viewed on the city's YouTube channel.
Next item, please.
Next item is approval of agenda.
Move approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Unanimous passage. Next item.
Next item is presentation number 4, proclamation of the City of Citrus Heights proclaiming May 17th, 2025 as its inaugural participation in Big Day of Service.
I was going to have Vice Mayor Lopez Taft do this because she and I were present there, and she's not here tonight, so I thought I'd do it. Who do we have representing? We have Brad Squires and Carol and Steve Balco. Great, thank you, kids. Okay, here's our whereas. The Orangevale Fair Oaks Community Foundation hosted its 7th annual Big Day of Service, where one day brings together community members in unity and service. And whereas this year, over 1,200 volunteers gave back to their communities across 82 projects in Citrus Heights, Fair Oaks, and Orangevale. And whereas this year marks Citrus Heights' first year as a participant in Big Day of Service, and hosted 14 projects in our city, giving back to our local schools, parks, service groups, first responders, and more. And whereas Big Day of Service brought together not only volunteers, but also engaged community members who stepped up as project leaders, including residents Carol and Stephen Balco, who served as the city's project captains, and local businesses that supported the event as sponsors. And whereas volunteering is one of the most meaningful ways we can give back to our communities, through volunteerism we build connections with the people and places that shape our everyday lives and strengthen the fabric of our community and deepen our shared commitment to one another. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Citrus Heights does hereby proclaim May 17 as its inaugural participation in Big Day of Service. Would you like to speak?
Sure, would you like to? Nope. Okay. I'm Brad Squires, and we are super thankful. I'm the CEO of the Orangevale Fair Oaks Community Foundation and the founder of the Big Day of Service. 7 years ago, we were really excited to include Citrus Heights this year. We, as you said, had over 1,000 volunteers, 1,200 volunteers show up this year.
And it was cold.
It was a little chilly in the morning, but it ended up being a beautiful day. We provided over $150,000 of value to the community just on one day through volunteerism. So big round of applause for the entire community for coming together, supporting the Big Day of Service. And of course, next year we hope to do it again with Citrus Heights, May 16th, 2026. Thank you.
Carol, or do you guys want to say anything extra on behalf of our city?
I think Brad said it all, and we just want to say we really appreciate all the support that we got from the city, so.
We appreciate you coordinating all the projects that were done in our city, and there were quite a few, and lots of volunteers. It was a great event.
Thank you.
So we'd like to come down there and maybe have a photo op with our council.
So I think what we take a step this way a little bit, is that right?
Mayor, go ahead, scooch in. There we go. Gonna do the pink thumb first. Tim, I got that. All right, and now we're gonna do sugars. All right, got it. Awesome, thank you.
Next item, please.
Our next item is presentation number 5. A presentation by Residents Empowerment of Citrus Heights, known as REACH, Board Member Andrew Campbell, reporting on Neighborhoods USA, the NUSA conference.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I have a presentation. All right, so my name is Andrew
This is
Campbell.
nice. This is nice, a little presentation.
Thank you,
Yeah,
yeah.
already.
I come from Neighborhood Area 4, and I am the secretary on the REACH board. And I recently had the great privilege of attending the 50th annual NUSA conference in Jacksonville, Florida. Next slide, please. Just some fun facts to start out with. Jacksonville is the largest city by area in the continental United States, and it has over more than 1 million residents. It's one of only 40 consolidated city and county governments in the country. I believe our closest comparison would be San Francisco. And being so large, it does have a very large urban park system. It claims to be the largest in the country, with over 80,000 acres of parks and green space. For comparison, that is almost 10 times the size of Citrus Heights just in parks. And they also have a trail for just about everything. They have a shrimp trail that'll take you to all the different seafood restaurants in town, an ale trail for craft breweries, coffee and donuts trail, a river walk, and an emeralds trail, which is still under construction, and it's going to connect a lot of different green spaces in the downtown area.
I saw Ashley wants a shrimp trail, right?
Next slide, please. So since it was hosted in Jacksonville, their neighborhoods department was very involved in the hosting of the conference, and I found it interesting to learn about the construction of that department and how it encompasses many of the different quality of life aspects within the city. Next slide. Next, just some trip stats about my trip. So I walked an average of 8 miles a day. I spent 24 hours traveling to and from Jacksonville, and by the end of it, I traveled by foot, car, shuttle, plane, monorail, bus, and water taxi. Next slide. So I attended all the workshops and presentations when I was at the conference. They range from entry-level topics that were kind of like just getting your neighborhood started to more plug-and-play programs that could be brought back to the city and the neighborhoods. I'll kind of highlight some of those now. Next slide. So starting with something for the community, we received a presentation from an entrepreneur in the Georgia area that is making micro-housing communities. Specifically, the company is called Techie Homes, and they make home ownership more attainable by looking for blighted land under 2.5 acres and building more than 20 tiny homes under 1,000 square feet on that property. They allow those condo-style homes to be sold for $250,000 or under, and therefore making not only an alternative living style in a very complex housing market, but also presenting a more affordable option for first-time home buyers.
Wow.
Next, and of course, I know that that won't be done by the city or any neighborhood programs, but I did think it was a very interesting concept to look at, specifically in a city like ours that's building itself into a regional destination with multiple tiers of housing. More specific for the city, and definitely the highlight of the conference, was the Tool Lending Program out of Red Rock, Texas. Next slide, please. So this program won Neighborhood Program of the Year, specifically for the category of physical revitalization and beautification. Obviously, something very popular, a very popular topic in Citrus Heights right now. So specifically, the way the program works is the city buys a ton of tools and makes those tools available for residents and volunteer groups to borrow free of cost. You can use it for neighborhood improvement projects, community cleanups, volunteer programs, and also for referrals from code enforcement violations. And that's kind of how the program was first initiated. The idea was that if you got a ticket for having a lawn that was out of control and your excuse was that you didn't have a lawnmower, here is a lawnmower that you can borrow and take care of that problem.
Good job.
This program was so successful that they've expanded it several different times and re-envisioned it, and then also gone into other programs that are similar as well. So this is kind of like their tool library or tool lending depot. On the next slide, I have a list of a couple other things that they kind of expanded it to. So specifically, they have a block party trailer, very similar to the one we have here in Citrus Heights. They also have a movie night in a box that reminds me a lot of what the Sunrise Parks and Rec Department does and what PONA does. And for instance, the city could purchase that entire package on its own and make it available to all the different neighborhood associations throughout the year. A curb painting kit for putting street numbers on curbs, a fence staining kit complete with a pressure washer and a spray painter or a paint sprayer, with the idea that this helps with beautification in the city if you're staining your fences or improving a corner lot. And they went all the way into taking all these volunteer hours and making kind of a neighborhood leadership conference day where they celebrate all of that leadership capacity that they've generated throughout the year. The real selling point for this program was specifically when the presenter explained that for an investment of about $15,000 to build this program, they then generated $54,000 volunteer hours, which they estimated to be about $1.7 million in value from the hours donated and the community enhancements generated. So I thought that was a really cool program and something that would be great for the city to look into. Next slide, please. Something more specific for the neighborhoods was a program all about connecting neighbors within their specific areas. Next slide. So this program goes by many different names, but it was pitched to me as Out and Abouts, and also kind of explained as trick-or-treating for adults. So the general concept would be that on every first Sunday of the month, a number of volunteers, anyone who's willing, would host a location at their home for neighbors to meet and greet. The simplest version of this is simply just kind of standing out there and greeting your neighbors as they go by, chit-chatting for as long as they're willing. More complex version would be actually hosting cookies and drinks and maybe even games or music or something like that. But very similar to trick-or-treating for adults, and really with the sole program of intention of getting people interacting, get to know your neighbors. He started with some statistic that I wish I could find about how much more likely you are to trust someone after having one interaction with them. So I did think that this was a very interesting program that could be brought back specifically for neighborhoods and could really bring a lot of community to our city. I think that's it for my presentation. Any resources that I collected, such as presentation materials or PowerPoints, will be shared with neighborhood leaders through REACH, and I'll be, of course, available for questions to any neighborhood leaders or the council.
Where'd you go on your Pride tour?
I took the river tour, so I went up and down the St. Johns River. They like to talk about how they're the largest of this and that, and so they are the largest waterfront within the entire state of Florida. They have a bunch of rivers and beachfront property. So I went up and down the river, and they explained the ecological environment and the different tourism that they're building along their gigantic waterfront.
Well, good you weren't in there during the mosquito season, yes?
Right, yeah.
I got a question. So what was the thing you liked the most, and what was the thing you didn't really think was cool?
Definitely the most exciting was that tool lending program. It's maybe not a perfect fit for everywhere, but if you just imagine the amount of positivity that could be generated from one program like that, it's pretty inspiring. Like the least, I'm a little bit of a picky eater, so I'm never pretty happy with conference food and everything, but they did have some pretty good food throughout the conference, but it's always something that I could think could be improved.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just a little FYI, the Sacramento Public Library does loan lawnmowers and leaf blowers and all that sort of thing, so it's already here.
Do they have a lineup like that, or just one at a time? Like if it's already
I
gone
don't
when you
know, I
get
just
there?
looked up online to see if they had it, they
Because
haven't.
this looks like something you could, have several at a time. Let's say it was a big event and you needed 4 lawnmowers, so I don't know if the
Yeah,
library.
I don't know how many they had, but they certainly, everything's electric because it's California, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's
You did a
all
great
electric
presentation.
lawnmowers and, but great presentation, Andrew.
Thank you very much.
Great presentation. You were definitely worth sending because.
Yeah, I would
good-
highly advocate for
Set
more
the
people
bar
to
now.
go in the
Anybody that
future.
goes after this is going to have to come back with this good report.
Thank you very much, yeah.
Yeah, great job.
Thank you,
I really appreciated the in-depth presentation.
appreciate it.
And I like the thought of the adult trick-or-treating. That'd be cool.
Yes, I think that's perfect for neighborhoods, and it's very plug and play. If you
Why
can
don't you
almost,
try it out in your area and let us know how it goes?
yeah, I'll get together with my team. Yeah, it's
Okay.
a great idea.
Great,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
thank you, sir.
Next item, please.
Next item is presentation number 6, presentation by the Citrus Heights Police Department for National Night Out on August 5th, 2025.
Oh, this was his thing. Oh, that was good.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council, Mr. City Manager, Chief Turcotte, and members of the public. My name is Sergeant David Jones. I am our sergeant that's assigned to the Citrus Heights Police Department's Problem-Oriented Policing Unit. I'm here this evening on behalf of the Police Department to extend a warm invitation to our community event of National Night Out. This is going to be held on the first Tuesday of August this year, on Tuesday, August 5th, between 6 and 9 p.m. Imagine a night where your neighbors came out, introduced themselves, shook hands, greeted each other, and were just able to connect. Imagine how much more safe you would feel in your neighborhood if you knew the people that lived to your left, to your right, behind you. I know that I have limited time. If you don't know the person to your left or right or behind you, take 10 seconds, just shake their hand, introduce yourself. Go ahead, please.
Hi, friends. Hi, Portia. It's like they do this in church.
So for the people in the room, it's that simple. I know we get comfortable in our bubbles. I know we live in our neighborhoods. Some of us don't like to come out of our homes. However, if you just take that moment to get to know your neighbor, I promise you will feel safer. You will get a chance to communicate, talk about some of the problems that are going on in your neighborhood, be in solidarity, and have a common goal of trying to figure out ways to solve these problems. It's a nationwide commitment to safety, solidarity, and the strength in connected communities. So what's National Night Out? It's the nation's night out against crime. It's an event that began in 1984. It's an annual event that aims to foster police and community partnerships and neighborhood camaraderie. It generates support for and participation in local anti-crime programs. It strengthens neighborhood spirit and police community partnerships. It heightens crime prevention and drug prevention awareness. You might ask, what am I going to expect at National Night Out? Some people in this room, some people that are watching on TV have never participated in National Night Out before. The gentleman that was just speaking before me, I love the presentation. If we're talking about doing that on Sundays, that is a great way to connect and unite. National Night Out is something that we can do every single year, and we can grow this program together. We can build stronger neighborhoods together. Community engagement, paramount. Food and refreshments, I'll be there. Barbecues, potlucks, other beverages. I mean, we got to have a good time with it. Family-friendly activities and other outdoor games. I love tossing cornhole bags. So if you sign up, I'll be there. Various city departments and our elected officials are going to attend. They're going to intend to increase crime prevention awareness. They're going to show support for our community. We're showing up to develop and foster relationships with the communities that we serve. We gather information on the neighborhood issues that are happening in your neighborhood, so that way we can figure out ways together to solve these problems. We're there to answer any questions that you might have. Most of all, we got to have fun. So we're building stronger neighborhoods together. So how do you register to sign up for this free event? You can go to www.citrusheightspd.net. From there, just click on the National Night Out banner. Looks like this in the top right-hand part of your screen. There's even a QR code to make it really easy, where you just put your phone on and scan the QR code. It'll take you right to how to sign up for the event. We're going to ask simple questions about maybe how many people are going to be there, where's the location, what your name is, what's the address, and whether or not you actually want the police to show up in the first place. If you want us there, we'll put a group together, we'll show up. Fill out that brief form, and again, registration's completely free. The only thing that is going to cost you is time and a partnership. This is how we all feel safe. So again, please take a moment just to get out of your comfort zone, just for a little bit. Extend a hand, invite your neighbors, host a little kickback. Matter of fact, I'm so passionate about this that my wife is here in attendance tonight, because I'm going to retire in a few years, so I've been attending National Night Out events as a police officer, probably going for the better part of the last 20-plus years. I want to host my own someday. She knows that I'm the neighborhood guy that people come to from time to time just to talk and catch up on the outgoing person and type. But this is what we need to do in order to build these relationships. So please take a look at the QR code, look at the city event planner, and sign up. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The days, they used to have just one street would just kind of put a bunch of chairs out in front of somebody's driveway and just sit in a circle and beverage in hand and just hang out. And so, and if anybody needs mosquito repellent, I'm going to leave a lot at City Hall, and so you can pick up some. I'll leave it with Jordan at the front desk. When I go next week, I'm getting a lot for our Stars and Stripes event. And so I'll bring mosquito repellent if you need that. And then if we bounce around, I usually have some with me when we visit the various sites. But last year we didn't have that many, because our council members try to do those in our districts first, and then we end up going to Chasen's because it's, got the most food. And so but, you know, you don't have to have a lot of food. I mean, it's just nice to get together as the neighbors. And the more the merrier, so you can have different streets. The neighborhoods can have things, but different streets, you know, courts, a whole court. Just sit out there and enjoy each other. And I appreciate all the work you're doing.
I got a comment.
I'm sure you do.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right, thank you, Mayor. So I just recently became acquainted with Sergeant David Jones here. He's been with Citrus Heights Police Department since 2006, as I recall, right?
That is correct, sir.
And, you know, I'm familiar with him because I see him, he's part of the Honor Guard for posting for many of the events. And I recognized him right off the bat, but I never really got an opportunity to chat with him. This presentation that he's just made is exactly how he comes across as a person. Super friendly and just really well done and really welcoming, and thank you so much for a great job.
Thank you.
Really, really was wonderful to hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll echo that. Yeah, fantastic presentation, Sergeant Jones. I appreciate it, and I am very much looking forward to our National Night Out on August 5th.
Thank you.
Fun fact, I tell this fact every single year. National Night Out started in 1984. That's the year I was born. It's 41 years old this year.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
Old enough to drink.
Just barely.
Okay, that's it for that item, right? Next item.
The next item is public comment, and if you wish to address the council during the meeting, please fill out a speaker sheet and give it to the city clerk or my colleague here to the right. When you're called upon to speak, step forward to the podium and state your name for the record. Speakers are limited to 5 minutes each, and the mayor has the discretion to adjust the allotted time. There is a countdown display that will flash red at the end of the allotted time. Consistent with the Brown Act, the council is prohibited from engaging in a discussion or taking action on any item not appearing on the agenda. And I do have 3 speaker sheets, and I don't know if he's still here, but Richard Neely. Oh, okay, staff has already spoke with him. Next is Gigi.
Hi, y'all. Mayor, hi, council members. I'm here to share an exciting update on the CH40 Arts District project, a project that represents a long-held dream for Citrus Heights artistic community and aligns with the city's goals for art enhancement. The vision for this district began to take shape 3 years ago when we went to NUSA. And we were inspired by the potential of art districts and, painted crosswalks to transform communities. To further refine our vision, we recently visited Denver's renowned art district, and we were deeply impressed about how they used art to energize and enhance the city's identity. We believe that the CH40 Arts District can achieve similar success here in Citrus Heights. The vision is now becoming a reality. I'm thrilled to announce that our first mural is being painted. It was started today by a talented artist, homegrown, and her name is Amy, and it's going to be on the Ciro's Pizza Wall. The second mural will begin on Friday, and we have several other exciting projects lined up to follow shortly thereafter. I'm also pleased to share that the City of Citrus Heights is sponsoring the murals at Dark Heart Brewery, furthermore demonstrating the city's commitment to this initiative. This initiative is also a collaborative partnership with Tom Romeo, the creator of Bear Paw brand. He owns multiple shopping centers along Historic 40, also known as the Lincoln Highway. Tom's dedication to our community and his investment in these spaces are essential to the district's success. I also want to acknowledge that the city's consistent support in partnering together. By partnering together, we are demonstrating how collaborating between the city, nonprofits, local businesses, and the arts community can create great things. In addition to these partnerships, We are also actively promoting the CH40 Arts District through various channels. We are advertising with the Sentinel, ensuring that our message reaches a wide audience. Also, I had an interview regarding the CH40 Arts District that aired on KFBK this morning. And I was told by Mark that it generated a lot of buzz and a lot of support within the community of listeners. The CH40 Arts District is more than just murals. It's about creating a destination, attracting visitors, and fostering a sense of pride and community. It's about celebrating the unique character of Citrus Heights and providing a platform for local artists to show their talent. We believe that this project will not only beautify our city, but also contribute to its economic vitality and cultural enrichment. We are excited about the future of the CH40 Arts District and the positive impact it will have on Citrus Heights. Thank you for your continued support and belief in this vision. We look forward to sharing more updates with you soon.
Thank you very much, Gigi.
Our next speaker is David Shelton.
Mayor, council members, my name is David B. Shelton, and I speak here quite frequently. I have prepared presentation, but I'm going to go off. National Night Out. I moved here in 2002. A neighbor 2 doors down was sitting in his garage, and a man walked up and pulled a knife on him and said, "Give me the keys to your car." Wisely, he gave him the keys to his car. The police caught him and gave him supervised living, but anyway, that triggered me. I didn't know who my neighbor was. So I got together with other people in the neighborhood, and I had a national night out at my house. And I told the people on the street, I said, the mayor's going to come, the police are going to come, all the people. You can't do that. They won't come here. I said, okay, you come and you see. And they came and they saw. To my little house, I had all these people come there, and it was fantastic. So I'm all for neighborhood night out. We still have in Pona, I'm in Pona 5. Our supervisor's right there, council member, Tim, does a wonderful job. Anyway, I want to put that plug in.
Are you going to do it again this year?
Pardon?
Are you going to have National Night Out at your house again this year?
No, because it's organized at the park. We go to Brook Tree Park and we get the trailer. You can get the trailer, and we sign up, I guess, 5 years in advance because we've always got the trailer. I've got the ordinance on fireworks. That's the purpose of my visit. I've also got the letter that was written by Commander Webb to the police chief of police. And the ordinance, we spent a lot of discussions on it, and all of the meat is in the ordinance. However, it's how it's presented. And we had it, it was reviewed by the city manager. I don't know if we have a new city attorney, but Scott Drexel's not city attorney in the past. We've got a new city attorney, okay. And I don't know how actually the law gets written, but I have here ordinance 2025, number 1, fireworks. And I'm not a lawyer, but I know there's a difference between words of if, who, may, should, and shall. Shall being the strongest. The so-and-so shall. But after the shall, you can put shall be able to come up with a different approach. So what it is, I just want to read some of the sections of this law. Under host liability, no host shall knowingly, shall's there, but it says knowingly allow any person. So you've got to approve that they knew what was going on with the fireworks. And then there are provisions where this shall not apply. It shall not apply to the possession, manufacture, storage, display, sale, use, or discharge of fireworks as permitted under federal or state law. Then there's a second section. A host who, okay, here's the word who, indicates and initiates contact with law enforcement, and they ask law enforcement that they want to have a firework display at their property. If they request this assistance from law enforcement, and later on there was a complaint about the fireworks at their house, they're exempt from being responsible for it. Different twist. Next, the host shall aid or abet any person violating of this provision of this chapter, if he or she knows of the other person's unlawful purpose, specifically intends to, or does not in fact aid, facilitate, promote, encourage, or instigate the other person's violation. So that to me indicates that it's going to be hard to prove who's responsible. Also, within this, it came up with what they call a responsible person. We never talked about a responsible person, but a responsible person is the one who ends up getting in trouble. And the first time they do it, it's a misdemeanor, it's a slap on the hat. If they arrest him and take him downtown, he's out in an hour, because we don't keep people in jail anymore in California. We let them go. It takes the second conviction. Now, the second conviction, you think it would be, okay, that's interesting. But let me read you about what it takes to prove a responsible person. Again, I'm not a lawyer, so I could be totally off base. And if I am, I would like you to let me know.
Can you
I
wrap
now
it up?
have
Can you wrap it
timeout.
up, or?
That's good.
Why don't you send your comments to us, and we'll forward it and see if there's some changes that need to be made for next year.
Okay, I can do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's all the speaker sheets I have.
Okay, next item then.
Next item is comments by council members and regional board updates.
I'll start with Ms. Middleton.
Thank you, Mayor. Let's see, it is graduation season, as many of you probably already know, and I am fortunate to have an eighth grader who had eighth grade promotion at Sylvan Middle School and is now going to be a Maverick. He's going to Mesa Verde High School, and I'm super excited about that. But I also want to make sure I say congratulations to all the parents and grandparents and aunts, uncles, all family members who are celebrating our graduates, whether they're going from TK to kindergarten or off from middle school to high school or on to college. It's really important that we celebrate our youth who are actually, going to be the ones who may one day be sitting up here doing our job. I also encourage parents to explore, because it's summertime. Let's start over. One, stay hydrated, okay? It's 104 out there. We want to make sure folks are staying hydrated and taking good care of themselves. Secondarily, for the parents out there who are trying to figure out what to do for their kids and don't want to spend a ton of money, San Juan Unified School District summer programs have been updated, and there are tons of fun things for kids to do. I'm sending my eighth grader over to learn about freshman math so that he can be, better at math than I am. So these activities are a great way to keep our kids engaged in learning, and you can find more information at sanjuan.edu/summer. And that's all I've done so far.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Nelson.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Well, I attended a few events since our last meeting. On the 2nd, I attended the Sayonara groundbreaking with the rest of our council, and that was really exciting to be a part of. I'm really looking forward to serving as much as I can as a volunteer in that community and seeing it being built. And then the same night, I attended the community meeting for County Supervisor Rosario Rodriguez here in this room. I did go down the street and caught people leaving the meeting by the congressman. Unfortunately, I didn't get to attend any of the actual meat of the event. But this one here was well attended, and the supervisor gave some good information as to what she's been up to in the county. And then on the 9th, just this Monday, I had a meeting with the city manager, our director of general services, and our mayor, along with the Sacramento Transportation Authority executive director. And he was giving us some information on potential legislation that they're trying to push through. So that was it.
It seems it wasn't busy last couple of weeks. Were you busy? What'd you do?
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. So, as number one, I'm going to hold up here. When David ran out of time just now for public comment, and when he was asked to wrap it up, that's how you do it. That's really how you do it. You don't carry on longer. He just ended his thing, and we're going to get some more information from him. But kudos to you, sir, for taking that step. So,
We have him trained.
yes, well, okay. So on the 29th, I just say, COG, it was a budget meeting. We're in the midst of budget season, and we we reviewed the budget. I think it's about, I think we did pass it, actually. And then we had a transit lunch right after that to talk about all different kinds of modes of transit. It was a great speaker, and it was about, the speaker talked about microtransit, which actually might be fitting for our community at some point in the future. So that was great. And then we had.
What is it?
What's that?
What is microtransit?
Microtransit, that's a really kind of a broad term. It is, sometimes it's automated taxis, sometimes it's like down in the Silicon Valley, it's called SV Connect, but it's an Uber service, but it's operated by the transit authority. And they have their own app and all that, and so, again, we should probably look at that at some point in the future. It was a very interesting talk about how we can enhance that goes to enhancing the regular transit, because we're covering the first mile, last mile. And we briefly kind of discussed it here, and it's really something we should probably, transit ridership is still recovering from COVID, so we certainly like to see more transit riders, but right now, I understand there's certainly some challenges there. It was on the 29th, and on the 2nd, I went to the CINR groundbreaking, but I was really tight on time there because I had a 10 a.m. SACOG Policy and Innovation Committee meeting, and that's where we kind of get briefings on what legislation is going through the state legislature and things like that. It's because it's kind of an important meeting. So I made it to that, and then I did that evening, went to Supervisor Rodriguez's presentation in this room, which is great. And like Councilmember Nelson, I quickly ran over to Ami Bera and just caught the very tail end of what was happening over there. So. And then on the 4th, we had City Scoop. And then on the 6th, that was Friday, we had I had a Capital Corridor Joint Powers Authority briefing for Link 21. The Link 21 is a new rail line that is planned to go across the bay. In addition to BART, BART gets really crowded, and this is Link 21 is a planned full-width rail program to go, kind of standard rail, to go across to San Francisco. And that will be kind of sort of part of the whole Capital Corridor full rail program. It's heavier rail than light rail. So that's an interesting thing. We're still figuring out the budget for that. That is still quite a ways down the road. We're just kind of in the planning stages of that. We're 10-plus years away from that actually happening. Then on the 9th, we had the SAC-RT board meeting, and that's where we did adopt the new budget, $267 million. And lots of details on that. Is certainly, while I think it's a very interesting, I love data, so there's tons of data in the budget. But I was really surprised. We're trying to get the fare box recovery. Right now, it's only about 7% or $19 million out of the $267 million. Only 19% of that, 19 million of that comes from fare collection. So that's pretty low. So with that, that's what I've been up
Well,
to.
you have been busy.
Yes.
You've been busy. I didn't think I was that busy these last few weeks. Good time to go see the doctor and the dentist and the hairdresser and whatever. So on, hang on a second. did go to the Sayonara. All of us were there. It's going to be a wonderful project. Congressman Barrow was there. He did donate some of the money towards the project. It is going to be super. It's going to transform that whole street, and I look forward to that project going forward. And then I came back here to do Monday with the mayor, then I interrupted it to have a meeting with Councilmember Middleton and our director of, Casey Whatsy's director of development, community development, and our city manager. We talked about the traffic study that was done on Auburn Boulevard in the light of the church that's being proposed there. So it was a traffic study, and we were just kind of given the skinny on that. And if you guys want to get the skinny, you can arrange to go get the skinny. And then I did not go to either Rodriguez or Amityville. My foot was so bad, I couldn't walk. It just was a bad foot day. But I did go to City Scoop, and I want to thank Sam's Club for donating just tons and tons of ice cream. And it wasn't very well attended, so I had 2. But it was still fun. I did get to meet the principal of San Juan High School. He was there, and that was nice. And then I went on the 9th, had another Monday with the mayor, interrupted with the meeting that Councilmember Nelson talked about with our Sacramento Transportation Authority guy. And it's just a meeting on some legislation that he's pushing through the legislature and wanted our feedback on that legislation. This morning I had a sewer meeting, and really nothing exciting happened at the sewer meeting, except to let you know and remind people that if you qualify for the rebates, not the rebates, but the lower rate, the Lifeline Assistance Program, you can get more information on the sewer website about it if you qualify, because we did a public outreach. You may have received an insert in your sewer bill that you qualify. If you get on SMUD's assisted rates, then you definitely qualify for sewer as well. So, but you could qualify for sewer without the SMUD one. You just have to go on the website, look at the qualifications and the contact person. It isn't a whole lot of money, but geez, in these days, if it buys you a $5 cup of coffee, it's like, wow. So anyways, more on that, because we raised the rates, we thought we'd raise the assistance. So you might want to check it. Other than that, that's it. That was kind of a slow 2 weeks for me. Okay, is there another item behind this one? I'm sure there is.
Next item is the consent calendar. We have item 7, approval of the minutes. Item 8 is a second reading of an ordinance making zoning code amendments. Item 9, a resolution of intention to record delinquent solid waste charges, penalties, and interest on the property tax roll. Item 10, Senate Bill 1, road maintenance and rehabilitation account funding and project list for fiscal year 2025-2026. 11, the San Juan Avenue Complete Streets Project Phase 1, approval of contract amendment number 3. Item 12, approval of the final subdivision map for Sayonara subdivision. And item 13, resolution adopting the amended salary table. And before council takes action, I'd just like to turn it over to the city attorney for a brief statement.
Mayor, I have a quick comment regarding the last consent item, a resolution adopting an amended salary table. Under Government Code Section 54953C3, an oral statement must be made on the action of salary schedules, and fringe benefits for executive managers. So in conformity with that Government Code section, this item is a recommendation to approve a 1.3% cost of living adjustment to the salary range for Administrative Services Director, Community Development Director, Economic Development and Community Engagement Director, General Services Director. And these changes will become effective on July 13th, 2025. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. I would like to just pull item 10 for a comment. Anybody else have any items they want to yank out? No? Okay. I can't see who's over there. Is Regina here?
I move approval on all other items.
Well, wait till I can do 10 and we'll do them all at once.
Oh, okay.
I just want to bring up 10. Could you call 10's title again, please, Amy?
Item number 10 is the Senate Bill 1, road maintenance and rehabilitation account funding and project list for fiscal year 25-26.
And I just wanted to pull this so that the public knows what we're doing for our extra road maintenance, the extra money that's coming. The gas tax is going to go up. Get your gas before July 1, because when the gas tax goes up big, we now get another share of that new tax, right? So that's in addition to the tax that we're already getting, correct?
That is correct. SB1 that was enacted in 2017 sets aside a separate tax that is a tax on top of your per gallon of gas as well as diesel. It also enacted some other revenue sources through renewal of registration based on valuation of the vehicle and including a separate cost for electric vehicles as well. So the funding that we receive every year as part of the requirements, we are to present to council and receive council approval of our expenditure plan for the following year. And so that is what is
And so
before you.
this is an additional 2 million on top of what we're.
On top of our regular gas tax, and this will also go strictly to our resurfacing and complete streets projects as we have identified in the CIP and in the budget. And this is on top of the $4 million a year that we get from general fund, and on top of the gas tax and measuring maintenance that we put forth towards our
So
streets.
we've spent a lot of money on roads.
That is the plan.
That is the plan. So just so the public knows.
Do you have a rough number?
Of what?
Because I think it was like 7 point.
It's about 7.5 to 8 million, based upon the revenues that we've projected. Of course, some of those projections are a little over, so we adjust those every May, June. And then at the end of the year, we are required to report back to the state on how we've expended these funds as
Some of
well.
it's spent on not resurfacing, but on those ADA ramps and
Correct.
other things, so.
Council
but-
recently awarded a contract for those efforts, so we will be constructing about 164 new ADA ramps, repairing some storm pipe, and some miscellaneous sidewalk repairs in advance of the resurfacing for this next year.
So just let the public know, we are going to be full of asphalt.
And on top of that, there's also a note in here that it also includes Madison Avenue. So Madison Avenue corridor is a shared roadway with Sacramento County. Sacramento County does take the lead on those resurfacing efforts. That project is currently out to bid, and that is to resurface from San Juan to Fair Oaks Boulevard. We anticipate that that work will be done next year. It's part of a larger project that Sacramento County is putting out to bid, so we expect it'll be done next spring, next summer.
Fantastic. Anyone have any comments on this item?
Not to put you on the spot, but we approved last year on June 27th for Dewey Drive to be done, and we're still kind of waiting on that.
We expect that work to be done in July. We do have a change order with our contractor with JPB, and we expect that work to be done shortly after Sunrise is completed.
Great, thank you.
Okay,
No
any
other comments.
any comments on 10? Okay, now you can move all the items if you want.
I'd like to move approval on the consent calendar.
Second?
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next item, please.
Next item is public hearing, item number 14. The subject is amendments to adopt master fee schedule. The recommendation is to adopt a resolution amending the city user fees and converting certain fees for services from a flat fee to actual cost.
Okay, so this is a public hearing, and first we'll get a staff report.
Good evening, Council. Alberto Preciado, Finance Manager. Good to see you. Staff is proposing some changes to our master fee schedule. These changes were shared with the council member and the Finance Committee between May 12th and 16th this last month. The items being proposed to be changed are planning fees and deposits, event center deposits, and should the council approve these changes, changes will take effect in 60 days. The detailed items are included at the end of the packet for your reference. However, I'll not be covering the individual items specifically during my presentation. The planning fees that are proposed to be changed have been proposed to be changed to reduce the barriers for permits for applicants for planning activities. This reduction adheres to the Economic Development Work Plan that Council approved earlier this year. Several of the flat fees are going to, under this model, are going to be changed to a deposit model where the applicant will pay a deposit, and then staff time and other city costs will be reduced from the deposit. If there's any left over, it'll be refunded. However, more complicated permits could potentially see an increase in cost. And this is a specific item that require the public hearing for a potential that some of these costs could be increased versus decreased. 3 planning deposits are also proposed to be reduced. These deposits are being reduced to align the amount of the deposit to be closer to the actual cost for the deposits. In addition to the planning deposits, staff is also proposing a reduction of certain event center rental deposits. This is to increase accessibility to the space for the community. Staff has not needed to use the full deposit in very many occasions during events, and the events are also required to hold event insurance, so that would cover the city in case of a major damage or cleaning that would be required. Which brings us to our recommendation and open for questions.
Any questions? I have a question. For event insurance at the event center, do you provide your prospective renter a list of places they could call to get quotes for their insurance, or do they have to go out in the market and look? Because I would, if I had to get event insurance, I wouldn't even know where to start.
The event holders can either buy insurance through one of our city providers, so they buy a separate policy using a city provider, or they can, if they can show their own insurance, that the city also accepts.
As long as
that.
there's some outlet for a dumb person who doesn't know where to get insurance. Okay, so that's good.
So before, I've called my homeowner's insurance and gotten a rider, a single-day rider for that.
Oh, really?
And it's really not expensive.
Okay,
It's pretty reasonable.
okay, that sounds good. Any other comments or questions? Okay, then we're going to open the public hearing. Any public want to comment on this master fee schedule plan? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and go for a motion or comments or anything.
I'll make a motion. Ready? Adopt a resolution 2025 amending city user fees to lower the deposit collected on certain Citrus Heights Event Center rentals and on certain planning deposits, and charge certain planning fees from a flat fee to an actual cost.
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Nelson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you very much. Next item, please.
Next item is regular calendar, item number 15. Subject is fiscal year 25-26 and fiscal year 26-27 biannual budget adoption. And the recommendation is to approve a resolution approving the budget for fiscal years 25-26 and 26-27. Approve a resolution establishing an appropriation limit for fiscal year 25-26. And approve a resolution approving the 5-year capital improvement program for fiscal years 25-26 through 29-30.
Okay, who's over there? Susan, I suspect, is over there. I can't see very well, so.
No worries. Good evening, Mayor, council members. Susan Talwar, Administrative Services Director, here to present to you the biennial budget adoption. And I think City Manager Feeney had some comments.
Yeah, thanks, Director Talwar. Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. Excited to make a few comments as we open up this item where we're proposing adoption of our biennial budget. This is a second biennial budget that our executive team has prepared with the larger organization of our staff team's input. We've got a great system on our budget preparation where we really focus on our actual cost, take careful analysis of any additions that are proposed. And the budget really is a statement of council priorities and values which come from the community. That's the approach we've taken to our last budget, and we've carried that forward as we propose this budget for your consideration for adoption. I also want to speak to kind of a little bit about the process on how we've gone about this. It's started probably back in November or October. So it's something that takes some time to prepare, and there's a lot of careful consideration, as I mentioned earlier. The council is also very involved in this process as well. We've rescheduled a strategic planning retreat, and we've held it, a number of years now in March in advance of consideration of a budget, because and then the budget can be informed by that strategic planning retreat if there's anything that would potentially impact the budget. So it's a very strategic way of going about things, if you will. In addition to that, once we have the proposed budget vetted internally, we then meet with individual council members to talk about the budget, work through the revenues and expenditures plan, talk about any, additions to the budget and the why behind those, and really kind of vet those even in just in individual meetings. Thereafter, it's reviewed by the Finance Committee for their review and any recommendations that they have that would be then considered by the entire city council. A budget workshop is held here in the public. That was done on May 28th. Very thorough presentation where each department head also reviews their own individual budget and any kind of proposals that they're coming from their department and explain the purpose behind those, the why behind those. So there's a lot that goes into getting ready for our biennial budget adoption. We had a very thorough presentation for you on May 28th. Director Talwar will go back through a number of those items that were discussed previously, but certainly we're looking forward to getting your comments and hopeful adoption of this budget, which will really kind of help set the chart for the next 2 years. And of course, with the budget, we do have a number of check-ins. We have kind of our mid-year check-in. We also have a mid-cycle check-in with the council where we review how we're doing on the budget relative to revenues and expenditure expectations. So it's something that we definitely take a lot of pride in reporting back to the city council on as well, and also speaking to how we're looking at long-term from our fiscal health for our organization to ensure that we're able to continue to provide city services consistent with those priorities that are established by the council. And we heard about some of the paving priorities that we talked about earlier tonight, and certainly that's carrying forward in this budget as well as a number of other community priorities and commitments that are important to the council and the community. So I want to thank Director Talwar, all of the staff team that were involved in this effort, and also thank the council for your efforts as we get this before you tonight for consideration. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Director Talwar for the presentation.
Thank you. So before we go and look forward and discuss our next 2 years, I did want to make note that in front of you, you have a booklet, which is the popular annual financial report. So just as we have a budget in brief, which is the mini version of a budget book, we have this PAFR, which is a mini version of our larger annual financial report. So that's our history, a look back in time before we go into looking ahead in time. And it is available on the website, plus there are some copies in the back here for anyone who would like to take one home with them. So our fiscal year, we are discussing tonight our fiscal year 25-26 and 26-27 proposed budget. We will focus on the general fund, which is our larger fund, and then dive into our other city funds, discuss our capital improvement program and appropriations, all of which are as part of the resolution for adoption tonight. As City Manager Feeney mentioned, our budget approach, it definitely aligns with our strategic focus areas as our number one guidance. We are maintaining a balanced budget, and the team continues to be fiscally prudent. You can see that as you look back, just in the PAFR, in front of you, that we have been able to have some significant savings. We do remain focused on infrastructure improvements, as Director Cave just mentioned, and then we are sustaining our long-term needs through community-identified priorities and aligning our operational needs to support near-term needs as well. So as mentioned, our all-city funds, if you take a look at everything, our general fund is our largest fund, and that essentially helps support all of our other funds. So we have our capital improvement funds, which is your streets, it's infrastructure improvements, it's the building improvements, and then we have our special funds, and those are specific and restricted, only used for, those revenues are used for those expenditures, and then our enterprise fund as well. Looking at all city funds for fiscal year ending in 26, our total city funds, we will have an anticipated revenues of about $99.7 million, and with an expenditure of $98.2 million. So there will be a net positive there going into our general fund predominantly. And then if you see just down at the very bottom there, we do have our $4 million transfers out for streets. And similarly, for fiscal year '27, we are projecting about $88.7 million with an expenditure of $87.6 million, and also our transfers out for the $4 million that we continue to maintain our streets. So, general fund proposed budget. Just looking, taking a deeper dive here, our revenues, we are projecting about $46.1 million with expenditures of $44.6 million, with a proposed operating surplus of about $1.5 million. And then for '27, we have about $46.9 million in revenues and projecting about $45.7 million in expenditures. So that's giving us an operating surplus of about $1.2 million. Taking a little bit of deeper dive into our general fund revenue, our largest revenue source is our sales tax, and that comes in about 30% of our total revenue, followed by our intergovernmental revenue and then property tax. And then we have our charges for services, and out of other, our largest one out of there is use of money, which is predominantly our interest investment revenues. And those make up about 82%, those 5 categories that I just mentioned. But highlighting sales tax itself, for every dollar that is spent here in the city, about 7.75 cents of that is sales tax. However, out of that 7.75 cents, we get about, the city of Citrus Heights gets about 1.01 cent. So it is our largest source of revenue, and we are getting about pennies on the dollar. And then taking a deeper dive at our general fund revenue, property tax allocation. Again, if for every dollar that we receive in property tax, 8.4 cents is what is allocated to the city of Citrus Heights. So here you have our general fund revenue broken out, as mentioned, $46 million in proposed for '26, and then we have about, for fiscal year '27, $46.9 million projected. And you can see, as we mentioned, we have our taxes and fees and then our intergovernmental revenues. Those are predominantly driven by HDL, who we contract with, that has been evaluating these for years and helps a lot of agencies throughout the state. And then for license and permits, we did take a little bit of a conservative approach there, depending on the market right now. So we took about a 7.5% cut there, just to remain a little bit more prudent on that. And then use of money, similarly, as we start to draw down our reserves for those capital improvement plans and not knowing where our interest rates may go, we took a conservative approach on that as well. So our general fund proposed operating expenditures, there you'll see each of the departments with their total expenditures. We did include a vacancy factor, which was new this year, and that's based on trends that we have had here in the city on staffing and just normal turnover. It is about a 5% vacancy factor just on salaries, so also a conservative approach. And as you may recall, at the May 28th meeting, we were averaging about 8.9% vacancy factor. And typically, you'll see a budget approach is about 6 to 10%. And then we have our transfers out to reserves, and similarly, that's transferring out to our replenishment reserves. So that's for infrastructure improvements, building improvements, so that we can build on and use those as needed. So if you look at this by department, police is our largest, and that they also do hold most of our FTEs at about 146 FTEs. Then we have administrative services, and there we have a lot of the support funding for your benefits and such as well that are included in their insurance. And then we have general services. At the May 28th City Council meeting, City Council requested a more detailed breakdown of the police department's budget. About $28.4 million of the, this is, I just want to make note, this is total budget. It includes general fund and special fund. They're supported by both general and special funds, and that's about $28.4 million. And then staff will work to, by mid-cycle, break that down even further and present that to you before then. So some of the breakdowns that we did, we have 3 kind of divisions within it. We have the operations, which is patrol and communications within that. Special services, which includes investigations, special operations, code enforcement, and animal services. One of the other major points that we wanted to highlight was the position requests. We have about a request for 4.25 positions. The general fund impact is about net $46,000 additional in expenditures, and then special funds will result in a $60,000 savings. We have noticed a great improvement in the way the city looks with the Citrus Heights Cares campaign and the beautification team. We have the construction inspector, which actually would result in a $25,000 savings to general fund by bringing that in-house. Similarly with the traffic light technician as well, we anticipate that as a savings to special funds. And then we have our custodian. There's a need for increased just about a quarter FTE there. And then a senior facility attendant, which would act as a team lead. And it is a limited term position, so that is not an FTE change. But it would be a little bit of a decrease to general fund so that we have better support at our event center as we start to maintain and get more events coming in. And last but not least, we did have the requested POP sergeant, and that was about a $37,000 increase to the budget, but no FTE change. It was a reclass from a police officer to a POP sergeant. So just going over the general fund overview, as mentioned, we have our transfers to replacement service funds, the $1 million, $1.1 million. Our capital improvement, we continue to allocate $4 million annually to street maintenance and repairs. We are also in the fiscal year 25-26 allocating Old Auburn facility improvements of $500,000. And if we will gauge and come back at mid-cycle if we need to make any adjustments to that. And then we had our positions of about 4.25 FTEs, bringing us to 215 full-time employments. So looking at the 10-year forecast, typically you're used to seeing the table of the 10 years. Wanted to highlight this in a graph form just to kind of highlight where our funds are and what's going on with them. So we maintain a healthy balance above city council targets. So city council targets you'll see is in that purple line right at the bottom below the orange line, which is the city manager's targets. City council targets are at 17% of operating expenditures, whereas city manager targets are 25%. And what you're seeing, the drawdown there on reserves, is really our continued funding towards streets of $4 million. Finance Committee reviewed all of this on May 12th and 23rd. There was a recommendation for an allocation of neighborhood area funds for consideration. So current approach where staff is proactively issues neighborhood area funds. The recommended approach from Finance Committee was to a simple annual application process for both REACH and individual neighborhood areas, consistent with other city grant administration process. So, I don't know if you wanted to have that discussion now on the approach, but we're just looking for some direction tonight on that.
Take it away.
Oh, thank you. So we talked about, the Finance Committee talked about the $500 stipend that we give to all the neighborhoods. I didn't want to limit it to that. I wanted to, if a neighborhood has a greater than $500 need, I wanted to give them an opportunity to apply for a grant for that. So, so it just seems very simple. Once a year, each neighborhood comes forward and applies for a grant, and so that they can tell us how much they need. Seems pretty straightforward.
That sounds reasonable, yeah.
It kind of matches all of the other nonprofit applications that we get. You'll develop a application, for us to fill out as neighborhoods, and then there's a couple more parts to that. So at the end of the year, what you don't spend, you account for how you spent it. So there is more of an accounting than what we do now. And we require that of all our other nonprofits to tell us how they spent the money they got from us. And then they give back what they don't use, so the same thing will happen to the neighborhoods. If they don't use it, it comes back to the general fund. So that's all part of that's not in this bullet, but that's all part of the.
That's correct. We will work with Director Huber on coming up with that application process.
It's in the staff, all that's in the staff report.
That's correct, Madam Mayor. That was all in the staff report for the budget workshop and in the staff report too. And we'd have an application process, simple application like we do with our other
Yeah, if everybody's treated the same.
grant processes. And if somebody didn't use all the funds they requested, to Councilmember Schaefer's point, if someone said, oh, we have $750 instead of $500 in expenditures, and they said, oh, at the end of the year, we only spent $400 and gave back, $350, it doesn't mean that the following year they couldn't apply for $750 again.
right.
It would just be, more of an application process explaining what the expenditures are, and if there's funds that weren't used, they go back to the general fund in the following year's a new application with some accounting there.
Well, the advantage too for REACH and for like Area 10 is that we're not considered government funding if it's a grant. It's a grant thing, whereas if you just kind of say, here's some money, then basically you are kind of looking at a government contribution. So the grant process is nicer for the nonprofits.
Well, again, it doesn't limit
It doesn't limit anything.
you're not limited to $500 if you
And
have
if
a
you want to use it
project
for
you wanna
NIP money,
do,
then
get-
you just dip into the NIP. Oh, that's a good one. So if you have a NIP project, then that can be just part of a process as well, right?
Yeah, we have a neighborhood improvement program application as well. That would be if someone had a neighborhood improvement project separate and a part of this administrative.
just for
These
administrative
funds were more for administrative needs.
pizzas
That's
at
what
the
they've
meetings,
traditionally been
yeah.
used
Or
for.
if you want to do a mailing or.
Exactly, have a
that
mailer
kind
that you
of
want to
stuff.
send out, or,
Mailings, you cannot do a mailing for $500.
I mean, there were some of the ideas that were presented from the Neighborhoods USA conference. If a neighborhood wanted to, pursue something that was more, getting the word out about an upcoming event, that would be something like a mailer or some other idea that may be put forward. So, we could certainly, if it's the will of the council to move forward with the finance committee recommendation, we could, put together a simple application, to make it so.
It'll require a little bit more work on the behalf of the neighborhood areas in REACH,
Yeah.
but there's potential to receive more than $500 a year. So I think that's a really good way to go.
And if a neighborhood is dark, the money never leaves the city.
Yeah, great point.
Good.
I think we have consensus.
I think we have consensus.
Thank you. So I'd like to review the appropriations limit. So this is typically calculated in May of every year for the following fiscal year. So this year specifically, we are speaking about fiscal year ending in '26, and then we would come back around at mid-cycle for the next, for the second year. The appropriations limit is limit of 74.2 million, and we are subject to the limit of 39 million. So we have basically what's remaining is about 46%. We are well below it and within our means. And looking at the capital improvement program, that's the next item, the third item that we had on resolution, which is the state law requires the city to prepare a capital improvement program. It covers 5 years, and the program we are funding right now is the 2 years of the 5 years, first 2 years. And it is consistent with the city's 2-year budget. The CIP does not allocate funds beyond that. It is used as a planning tool, utilizing revenue projections as well as outlining secured funding where applicable. So this is just a brief overview. In fiscal year '26, we're looking at about 31.7 million, and fiscal year '27, we're looking at about 21.3 million in expenditures for capital improvement program. So with that, I'll take any questions, and we have our recommended action for tonight.
Any questions? Questions? What a tough job this was for you guys to do, and you make it look so easy for us. I think this book, Popular Annual Report, I've always been impressed with it. I carry it with me, and so if anybody has a question, it's generally, and then the other one that you put out, the little one-pager, two-pager one, it's really cute. But this is nice. It has a little history of Citrus Heights, meet the council. Urge everybody here to grab one on your way out. You'll be the first in your neighborhoods to have it. And I want to thank you for this and for that and for that. So, some motions, please.
I have a comment.
Oh, now he has a comment.
Now I have a comment. I just want to say that, thank you very much. This is really simple and easy to understand. The days of the multi-million-dollar surpluses are kind of over. We're now in a stable budgetary process. I like that. It's very predictable. When we have big surpluses, that means that money should have been allocated to the standard budget that apparently, for whatever reason, didn't get allocated there. So this allows us the most flexibility without having these big surpluses. And I thank you very much for this. We have an entirely new team working on this, and it's very clear that it's very easy to read, and I love no surprises.
And it includes all the projects that we set in our strategic planning goals. Everything's covered in there and anticipated that these are the goals that we set as a council at our strategic planning, things we wanted to see accomplished, things we want to get done. And we're going to show the community that we stick by our guns, we plan our spending, we stick to our budget, and you're going to see that we're good stewards of your money, which is what our city manager wants. So that's good.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you, Ash.
Now can I have a motion?
Yes, I'll give
Is
it.
everybody done speaking?
I'll do the motion.
Everybody done speaking? Okay.
I'll split them with you, though.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll do the first one. Adopt Resolution 2025, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Citrus Heights, California, approving the budget for fiscal years 25, 26, and 26 and 27.
Second?
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye. Your turn.
I would also like to move approval to adopt resolution number 2025, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Citrus Heights, California, establishing an appropriation limit for fiscal year 25 through 26.
Second?
Second by Councilmember Middleton. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Portia, your turn.
Okay,
It's Portia's turn.
No, it wasn't. It was Tim.
No, he did one.
I'll do it.
I move we adopt resolution number 2025, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Citrus Heights, California, approving the 5-year capital improvement program for fiscal years 2025, 2026 through 2029, 2030.
I'll second that one. I'm going to second that one.
Okay.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Not us fighting over resolutions.
Well, everybody got a chance to nominate one.
Okay.
Is there another item?
Next item is regular calendar item number 16. This is appointment to fill a vacancy on the Planning Commission. This was Oleg Shishko has resigned from the Planning Commission. He was individually appointed by Councilmember Schaefer. So this evening, Councilmember Schaefer desires to appoint Scott Kaufman to the Planning Commission, which is subject to ratification by the City Council. And so his application was provided, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Is he here?
He's here. He's in the back.
Can we meet him?
Yes, come on forward.
Hello.
Hi, Scott.
Nice to see you, Scott.
Pleasure.
Scott has lived in the city. He bought his home a few years ago.
3 years ago.
Yeah, down in that new area on the lower Mariposa area. What do they call that? What's the
It's
community
Abby's Gate. It's between the San Juan Park and the school there, that controversial development.
Yes.
I live in there now.
5555?
Yes,
You're in 5555?
I am. I'm not 5555. That's the whole development, but I'm 5526.
Okay. I was on the council when.
Really nice in
When the
there.
neighborhood opposed that project, so.
I remember. Yeah.
Really nice in there. So, any questions for Scott?
You understand the GAN spending limit, don't you?
I do.
See, really good. Someday we'll get a little lecture on what it used to mean.
Okay.
It's not what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, do we need a motion for this?
Yes, we just ask that council make a motion to ratify the appointment.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, I'll second it.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Welcome to the Planning Commission.
Well, thank you.
Congratulations. Thanks.
Nice meeting you.
Pleasure.
The next item is department reports, of which there are none. The next item is city manager items.
All right, good evening, Mayor, members of the council, Ash Finning, your city manager, and I just want to start off by thanking our team, Director Talwar and Finance Manager Preciado for their diligent work, and also our senior accountant, Dina Jenkins, who was here present for the last budget presentation, but was definitely an instrumental part of that team to get us to where we got tonight, which was adoption of our biennial budget, and then all our other staff team members that were involved with that process. Just great job on that. Appreciate it, and also all your work on that, council, so thank you. I've got just a couple of slides tonight. One of them, we have the Gap Trail project, and this is the Gateway Activation Project, where it's filling in a gap, in our trail system, and we're looking to connect our northern trails up to regional connections to Roseville's trails. And there's been some public outreach meetings to date on that. We do have an active survey that we're looking for additional feedback on by June 17th. There will be another pop-up event near Big Oak Mobile Home Park on the Old Auburn Multi-Use Trail on Saturday, June 14th from 8 to 11:30. So our staff team will be out there to get some feedback from neighbors in the neighborhood. So nice day for a walk, and you can provide your feedback, and you can see there's a link on this slide to the survey there. We will also be having, I think it's at the next, is it at the next meeting, City Clerk Van, that we're going to be having our workshop here at the City Council?
Yes.
Yeah, so at our next City Council meeting, we'll also be having a workshop with the council to talk about what we've heard from the community and some various options for consideration. So we encourage the public to attend these events, and certainly when we have this before the council, come have your voice heard. And then, as Director Talwar presented, we have our popular annual financial report. It's on our website. We have it, it's at citrusheights.net. Looks like I've got a little formatting with the link, but if you go to finance, financial reporting, popular annual financial report, it'll absolutely be there. And we'll probably put a header on our website too. Just, we have our kind of flashing wallpaper headers up top to make sure that there's a nice link to that. But great document, really breaks down last fiscal year for the financial report for 2024. And then as soon as we have our budget and brief adopted for our upcoming budget that's just been adopted, we'll make sure that that's available on the website and have printouts available for the community as well. And that concludes my updates.
Thank you, Mr. Feeney. Next item?
Next item is items requested by council members or future agenda items.
Any items?
No, none for me.
Items? Well, I had one, and I'm just going to briefly speak it, and then I think I'm going to try a different mode. And my concern is, because there's not a whole lot of audience today, is that in the summer heat, we do offer cooling areas for our unhoused, but not for their pets. And so I just think that, the pets need to be welcome into a cooling place, and we don't have any for them. And so I was appealing to the community to come up with thoughts and ideas, or people they may know, businesses may know, churches they may know, rules. We have to have rules, I'm sure. I'm happy to donate crates if that's what it takes. And so the thought of, 110 degrees and a dog that's, whose owner is probably carrying warm water, and a dog who's panting and his little feet are touching, his little paws are touching the hot pavement. And I know that the bus is free to downtown Sacramento where they can get cool, but I still think that we should, as a community, have more compassion for our unhoused pets who live with their unhoused owners. So I don't know how many there are. I don't know how many pit bulls there are. I don't know any about it, but I know there's one lady that wears her cat around her neck because she has a cat, and the cat is usually in a carrier. So Tippy, she's got a tip on her end of her tail, so she got to be Tippy, and she may be watching. And so hopefully we can find some ideas from our community on what we can offer. And that's my thought.
Are you asking for a workshop?
No, we just got to find ideas. So if we can present ideas to Hart or to the chief, ideas that if we see a pet that's struggling with his owner, we can say, here's a cooling center, we're here for you. It's like something as a community that we work together.
Okay.
This kind of thing. I'm using this as my pulpit.
Okay.
Thank you. That's it. We're adjourned? We're adjourned.